Karen Johnson entered the world on January 25, 1967, in Galesburg, Illinois. Adopted as an infant alongside 4 siblings by Gary and Carol Johnson, she grew up in a nurturing environment. From a young age, Karen displayed a strong athletic inclination, excelling in track during high school and earning multiple trophies in 5K events. Her love for running persisted into adulthood, culminating in a 22nd place finish among women in the St. Jude Marathon, which earned her a spot in the prestigious Boston Marathon Elite category. Professionally, Karen worked as a personal trainer at the YMCA in Dyersburg, where her supervisor, Randy Butler, later praised her contributions to the organization and its members. To bolster her finances, she led aerobics sessions, cleaned homes, landscaped yards, and sold Avon products and Tupperware in her community. Those who knew her consistently highlighted her warmth and caring nature, which radiated effortlessly. On September 23, 1989, Karen wed David Swift, and together they welcomed 4 children, Preston, Dustin, Ashley, and Keeley. Their early married life appeared steady, but underlying tensions soon emerged. By 2000, the couple divorced following David's infidelity, which resulted in a child, though they reconciled and remarried that same year. Acquaintances described this cycle of separations and reunions as characteristic of their bond, marked by David's domineering tendencies. Karen's confidant, Kathy Boner, recounted how David incessantly monitored her, belittled her, and bombarded her phone with calls, once dialing 25 times in less than 30 minutes. In the period before her death, Karen underwent a significant personal shift. She grew more self-reliant, outgoing, and assured. Joining a social group at the Farms Golf Club in Dyersburg, she began attending gatherings regularly. To those close to her, it felt like she was breaking free from a stifling, controlling dynamic. David viewed it differently, claiming she was experiencing a midlife upheaval. He informed authorities that she had escalated her drinking and socializing with new acquaintances, portraying her as lost and adrift. Karen's daughter, Ashley, also observed the transformation and emotionally urged her mother to spend more time at home. Yet Karen had resolved to move forward. On October 10, 2011, precisely 20 days prior to her disappearance, she initiated divorce proceedings, requesting half ownership of their residence, primary guardianship of their 4 kids, and $1,400 monthly in child support. David's reported income stood at $8,500 per month. Additionally, Karen acquired a secondary cell phone from friends Bill and Kathy Boner to privately consult her divorce lawyer, Jason Cece, after discovering David was tracking her communications. On the morning of October 29th, the day preceding her vanishing, David proposed skipping an evening Halloween bash for a private dinner. As her attorney noted, Karen's reply was unequivocal. "No, David, it's over." That Saturday night, October 29, 2011, the Farms Golf Club hosted a Halloween event in Dyersburg. Karen joined as Bill and Kathy Boner's guest, dressed in a form-fitting black Catwoman outfit. Eyewitnesses remarked that she seemed out of sorts, with friend Jenny Gurian noting Karen's admission that she wasn't enjoying herself, a stark contrast to her usual vibrant personality. She clashed with several women at the party, including the daughter of a local influential figure. At 11:58 p.m., she departed with the Boners and headed to their residence, intending to stay overnight. Shortly after midnight, Karen received a call from her 9-year-old daughter, Ashley, who felt unwell at a sleepover and needed pickup. Karen retrieved her and returned to the family home on Willie Johnson Road around 1:30 to 2 a.m. David later informed investigators that he remained awake to ensure their safe arrival, exchanging brief words with Karen before she and Ashley retired to the same bedroom. At 2:08 a.m., Karen's phone linked to the home Wi-Fi. By 4:38 a.m., it disconnected for the final time. At 5:04 a.m., the device exited the premises and traveled to a location investigators termed an area of interest. 5 minutes later, all phone activity ceased indefinitely. The following morning, Ashley awoke in another room and her mother had vanished. David stated he arose around 10 a.m. to discover Karen missing, but a pivotal event had already transpired. At 9:55 a.m., someone accessed Karen's secondary phone's voicemail while it was connected to the Swift household Wi-Fi. This occurred before the phones were located and before her absence was officially reported. Assistant District Attorney Tim Box later explained to the jury, "We know one adult was present in the Swift home at 9:55 that morning." Later that day, two hunters stumbled upon Karen's white 2004 Nissan Murano on Millsfield Highway, mere miles from her home. The vehicle was secured, containing her Halloween attire, but lacking her handbag. The right front tire was utterly destroyed, with a screw embedded at a precise 90-degree angle into the tread. A friend spotted the car and alerted the sheriff ahead of David. Both of Karen's phones were discovered, shattered, and damaged, about 400 to 500 feet from the Swift residence on a neighbor's land. The Boners reported her missing first, followed by David's call to authorities. The Dyer County Sheriff's Office initiated a comprehensive search, deploying officers, K-9 teams, Tennessee Highway Patrol units, helicopters, and rescue personnel. Over 300 volunteers participated, including Nevada's First Lady, Dawn Gibbons, whose son had attended school with Karen, who assisted in scouring the Truckee River. On November 10th, searchers inspected Bledsoe Cemetery, but found no traces. Throughout November, 3 witnesses described encountering a man wielding a metal detector in the cemetery vicinity. Karen's son, Dustin, testified to meeting him. The individual claimed to be hunting for a misplaced watch despite wearing one. This notable figure was never thoroughly probed. 10 days post-disappearance, the farm's golf club was burglarized, with only the security cameras taken. These would have captured footage of the Halloween party, including Karen's disputes and attendees. On December 10, 2011, 42 days after her vanishing, a cemetery caretaker uncovered a body hidden under dense kudzu and foliage near Bledsoe Cemetery off Harness Road, roughly 3 miles from the Swift home and just 20 feet from the roadway. Sheriff Jeff Box noted the remains had been obscured by vegetation for an extended period. The next day, the Shelby County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed the identity via dental records. It was Karen Swift. The autopsy indicated death from blunt head trauma, featuring a severe skull fracture spanning frontal and temporal regions. The probable instrument was a hammer-like tool, with the lethal blow striking the forehead. Karen was clad solely in black undergarments, lowered around her thighs. Decomposition hindered assessments of sexual assault. Absence of defensive marks suggested a sudden ambush. Toxicology showed no illicit substances or alcohol, only caffeine, paracetamol, and diphenhydramine, a sleep aid. Death was classified as homicide. Initially, the examiner suggested stomping as the cause, but later revised this at trial due to inconclusive factors from decay. Strangulation couldn't be excluded, nor could post-mortem skull damage. The Swift residence underwent at least 3 searches by Dyer County Sheriff's Office and Tennessee Bureau of Investigation TBI violent crimes teams. Forensics examined the house, garage, and vehicles, yielding no blood, struggle signs, or crime-linking evidence. 7 gallons of bleach were photographed outside the garage. Prosecutors posited David used it to erase blood after a garage killing. David attributed it to cleaning canine vomit from a poisoned family dog, courtesy of neighbor John Hogshooter. The TBI didn't collect or test the bleach. Hogshooter later described a potent chemical odor from the Swift property post-disappearance, though no supporting evidence was gathered. DNA from Karen's undergarments revealed no male profiles. Fingernail samples contained only her DNA. 4 fingerprint sets from her vehicle were analyzed. In 2018, 7 years post-murder, David's prints were compared. None matched. No other suspects' prints were checked. Tire expert Gary Baldwin testified the screw was inserted flawlessly perpendicular to the tread, head flush with the inner tube. He deemed accidental road debris unlikely, concluding manual insertion. The tire deflated after under a mile's drive, matching the distance from home to abandonment. Prosecutors alleged David tampered with it to simulate a kidnapping. Defense engineer Brian Dahl suggested road debris as possible, albeit rare. From the outset, David Swift was the prime suspect. In 2012, Sheriff Jeff Bach stated, "We've eliminated other persons of interest except the victim's spouse." Lead investigator Terry McRae deemed David's conduct evasive and suspicious, noting his lack of assistance in searches or inquiries about progress. Interviews showed David fixated on criticizing Karen's habits over her welfare. McRae remarked, "It signaled to me he was concealing something." Witnesses detailed David's domineering behavior. Kathy Boner described relentless calls and surveillance with belittling comments like, "You're drinking excessively." He intruded on her outings, demanding returns. Jennifer Gurian recalled him barging into an Applebee's dinner. Neighbor Janie Helm testified he sought her yard for spying on the Boners, violating a restraining order. Amanda MacArthur shared an incident where Karen spotted David's vehicle during errands, heightening her fear of his monitoring. David labeled Karen's changes a midlife crisis, blaming her friends for enabling alcohol and parties. He accused the Boners of hosting hot tub gatherings and swinging, alleging Bill Boner attempted rape and finding Karen nude with Kathy. The Boners refuted all claims, explaining a towel over Karen post-hot tub and her entering Kathy's room while Kathy was pajama-clad. TBI agent Joel Wade testified David accessed dating sites 280 times from October 10th, divorce filing, to November 14th, 2011, laptop seizure, including during her absence and searches. The court deemed this inadmissible, fearing jury confusion without murder proof. Further digital evidence emerged. David denied knowledge of Karen's second phone, yet its number was in his work phone. At 9:55 a.m. on October 30th, the voicemail was checked via home Wi-Fi, post-disappearance, pre-discovery, with only David home. David used crutches and a knee brace. Defense argued this invalidated the prosecution's scenario, but testimony contradicted it. On October 29th, a neighbor saw him moving 65-pound hay bales without crutches, though he used them earlier. Kathy Boner observed him on a quad bike despite the injury. Hog Shooter watched him crutches-free when alone. A physical therapist confirmed he could drag 125 pounds 75 feet, sufficient for Karen's body, 20 feet from road, though painful. Lifting over 100 pounds required help. Hog Shooter, arrested November 5, 2011, for animal cruelty, poisoning dogs, including the Swifts, had his property searched. No Karen links. He claimed accidental poisoning from fly killer near construction. Cleared, he testified accordingly. The metal detector man intrigued investigators. Witnesses, including Dustin, described him near the cemetery. He showed indifference to Karen's disappearance. Private investigator Heather Cohen suspected the farm's golf club owner, whose daughter clashed with Karen at the party. Cohen alleged law enforcement ignored statements, possibly shielding a prominent figure. Cohen's theory posited Karen's involvement in Dyersburg's swinging scene, possibly sex work for a polyamorous couple. Friends recalled her admissions of shameful money-making activities, including risque photos. Best friend Aaron Gray shared Karen's mess unrelated to David, an affair with a married man, and $10,000 for divorce, raising risks from entanglements. Cohen's book, Swift Injustice: The Murder of Karen Swift, accused cover-ups protecting elites, claiming the probe exposed obstructions. Over 11 years later, on August 8, 2022, David was apprehended in Birmingham, Alabama, where he'd relocated and remarried. A Dyer County grand jury charged him with first-degree premeditated murder. Sheriff Box notified Karen's mother, Carol, fulfilling a promise. "We had an emotional talk," he said. "She seeks justice for her daughter." David posted $200,000 bail and returned to Alabama. In July 2023, on bond, he faced felony stalking of second wife Kelly Esmond post-separation. Jefferson County, Alabama, found footage of him at her home at night. Esmond met on Christian Mingle in 2014, 3 years post-Karen, married in 2016, told ABC's 2020. "I conversed easily with David, believing his words." Stalking led to bond revocation. He awaited trial in Dyer County Jail. The jury excluded stalking details from the murder trial. Proceedings started May 28, 2024, in Dresden, Tennessee. Venue changed due to publicity. Judge Mark Hayes presided over 8 days. Prosecutors Danny Goodman and Tim Box faced defense attorney Daniel Taylor. 36 prosecution witnesses testified. Defense called 12. Prosecutors admitted no DNA, prints, or ballistics, only circumstantial motive, means, opportunity. Theory: David killed Karen in the garage between 2:08 and 5:04 a.m. October 30th, cleaned with bleach, transported her body to the cemetery, sabotaged the tire, abandoned the car, smashed phones, using his knee injury as cover. Goodman stated, "This rejection gnawed at David." He realized Karen was leaving permanently. Defense countered no proof. Injury hindered attack. Witnesses included children Ashley and Dustin. Ashley disputed the timeline, insisting her mother moved her to another room. "I'll swear to my grave it was my mother," she declared. No parental strife heard. Home normal. She portrayed David as supportive, helping with car oil, her job, paying for others' groceries. Dustin saw nothing unusual post-disappearance. Closing arguments concluded. Jury deliberated. One juror admitted an online reasonable doubt search. Prohibited. By noon, June 6th, deadlock reported. Judge Hayes urged continuation. After 11 hours, verdict. Not guilty of first-degree premeditated murder, second-degree, attempted first-degree, attempted second-degree. Hung on voluntary manslaughter, mistrial declared. David remained detained as prosecutors considered retrial. June 20th, 2024, grand jury re-indicted on voluntary manslaughter and aggravated assault to extend limitations. Defense challenged expiration. March 17th, 2025. Judge Hayes dismissed manslaughter as time-barred. Class B felony, 8-year limit, expired pre-2022 indictment. David released, pending Alabama stalking warrants. District Attorney Goodman appealed, pledging to push the Attorney General. Karen's children, aged 7 to 18 at her death, endured over a decade of investigations, arrest, trial, acquittal. Carol Johnson, after 11 years of uncertainty, saw arrest but acquittal. In 2014, she said, "It pains me daily knowing someone took my baby, ended her life, discarded her in the kudzu like trash. It shatters my heart." Father Gary died in 2018 without closure. Karen Swift's case remains unsolved. No other charges. Weapon unfound, purse missing. Voicemail access mystery persists. Who checked it at 9:55 a.m., October 30th, from the Swift home? If David, why a phone he denied knowing? If not, who else had access? Chemical odors post-disappearance. Why untested bleach? Metal detector man's identity and motives. Golf club cameras theft? Karen's mess to Aaron Gray? $10,000 source? Party altercations causes? Body placement timing? If not David, who killed her? Over 13 years on, the Halloween slaying of Karen Swift lingers in ambiguity, fractured allegiances, and elusive resolution.